Hey, what is up, guys? I am Hippie, and I want to welcome you to the final day. Oh, I'm so sad it's almost done.
5 near-death experiences.
5 near-death experiences. There's nothing spookier than almost dying, or nothing more thrilling. Just depends on who you are. So, would you like to go first with your first one?
I'm going to start with my first near-death experience, and yes, it was on the farm.
That same farmhouse, man.
That same farmhouse.
Oh.
And I think the only reason I survived is because I was a girl. If I would have been a boy, I would have been done for.
Yeah.
So this is just after winter and the spring, and we had a creek by our house. Children, stay away from swift running water. We have a couple stories to tell you about this. So we used to work on the farm. We'd get an allowance, and of course we were kids, so I spent mine right away. And my brother had gotten a kite, and I just loved it out there, out in the country flying the kites. I had begged my brother to borrow me $2 so I could go get a kite in the string. As soon as I got it, usually we would all stay together, but for some reason I was alone this day out of 5 siblings that lived on that farm and all our cousins and friends that would come over, and I was by myself. I was wearing a pair of my mother's winter boots that were 2 or 3 sizes bigger than me, and this huge rabbit fur coat, which is like Dolly Parton's coat of many colors. It was rabbit
They won't know
fur.
what that is.
It
was a fur coat.
Heavy, and I was flying my kite up and down the road. And
How old were you?
I bet you I was 10 years old, and I bet you I weighed 50 pounds. We ran around. In those days, we took our activities outside. There were no video games. We rode our bikes to our friends' houses. I decided this bird kite with these wings on it that I had would look great skimming across the water. So I go to one side of the bridge and I hang my kite over the side, and the rapids are just flowing gently, and you can see the twigs and everything under the water going really good, and it was cold outside. I decided to let my kite skim across the water, and I would lower it, and then I wanted it to touch. Well, the current caught my kite, started taking it downstream, and I hadn't even paid my brother back yet. So I decided, as a smart 10-year-old, by myself,
I'm going to get that kite.
I'm going to get that kite. So I reach in the water and fall in with those heavy boots, that heavy rabbit fur coat, and it starts carrying me downstream. We have no neighbors. I'm grasping at the twigs and stuff. Yes, I did get the kite. It is in my hand. I am somehow able to pull myself out cold. There's still ice on the ground. There's still ice in the water. Pull myself out. I was panicking. I sat on the ground, emptied my boots, walked back home. I bet you I weighed, this 50-pound girl, I bet you now I weighed 150 pounds. I snuck in the house. I put the boots in the little water shed just before you come in, where we were to hang up all of our coats and everything. I hung my rabbit coat up in there. I get my kite up into my room and I check it out, and yes, the sticks in the back were broken. So now I had this broken kite I had not paid for, my mother's wet boots, my wet brand new rabbit coat, and I never told anybody until I think we had moved here to Colorado. The kids loved to listen to my stories of our craziness that we did on the farm. And I told them, they said, did you ever tell your mom or anything? And I said, no. And not even till a couple of days after, when she went to go put her boots on, and she was like, why are my boots wet? And we're all looking at each other like, I don't know. So yes, I did pay off the kite, but don't ever go near water that after it has rained or snowed and it's coming down. It is really, really, really strong. And like I said, it can kill you, and I am really surprised that it did not kill me. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the next story over to Hippie here and let him tell you his story.
So this also involves water, and when I was about 10 years old. So we lived behind or in front of a like ditch that all the water would drain through.
We don't have sewers here.
We don't have sewers. It's just like the open ditches that the water runs along. And I remember my mom telling me, don't play in that ditch. You know, you'll get swept away by the water. And I said,
I had just told him the water that comes down on the mountains here, even if it is not raining here in the foothills, it comes out of the mountains and it will carry away. If you have seen some of our footage from the last couple of years in Manitou Springs of the flooding, people have died. It's taken our houses, it's taken cars, and kids like to play in water naturally. And we just had 2 13-year-olds that were swept away, took through the storm drainage, and they did die. So I did tell the kids, now at school they have little drills, like tornado drills. Stay out of the ditches. So, did Hippie? Well, you'll find out.
No. So, me and my friend decide we're going to go down in that ditch. So there's a little gap in the fence, right? And when you go down that ditch, it's a big drop. Like, it's like 60 degrees. And I'm a fat kid. Like, I'm not athletic or nothing, man. I can't run. I can't jump. So we get down there. And my friend, as he's on the edge, decides he's not going to go in. He said he's going to stay up there. So I said, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go look in that little hole back there. Which, in another story, we found a foot. But I started feeling some sprinkles of water, and I'm like, just the sprinkles. We'll be fine. So I'm still sitting down there, and it starts raining a little bit more. And I say, all right, time to get out of here. I go over to the wall and start climbing up. It's been slicked by rain. So I'm stuck in this gully with no way to get out. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to die. This is how it's going to work. I'm going to die. So I'm walking along the gully, and it's raining more, and now there's a stream coming below me. And it's about maybe an inch, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm still good. I'm all good. It's going to stop raining. I'm going to be fine. Nope. Kept on going, kept on coming, until the point when it was about, maybe to my knees. So I'm walking along this thing, and I'm kind of like sludging. My shoes is wet. And,
This is the first time I'm hearing the story, so as you guys, I'm waiting to see how he got out. There's no rope, no fence, no twigs, no dirt, nothing he can put his feet in. They make these cement things on this angle for the water to go through these tubes.
Right.
And, it is fierce. So I'm going to see how he got out.
So I decided the best thing to do is lay down. No. So I'm walking along it, and it's up to my knees, and it's going like I'm walking with the water, so it's not pushing me down. I'm walking with the water, and it's pushing me along, and I'm kind of looking around, and I don't know what time it was, but there's like nobody even around. So I'm just walking down there, and I see a tree kind of grown over the fence, and it's kind of hanging into the thing a little bit, and I'm like, all right, I might be able to grab a hold of it. So I grab a hold of one of the branches, but like I said, I'm a fat kid, and the branch breaks. So I reach up and grab a bigger one, and I'm able to hold on to that one, and I'm able to kind of shimmy my way up the little wall. And now I'm on a wall that's maybe an inch from the dirt, and there's a fence. So I'm kind of scaling along the fence. If you can't see right now, but I'm making little hand gestures and such. But I'm scaling along the fence all the way back, maybe 400 feet to where the hole is. This whole time I keep slipping back down. I'm grabbing onto the fence. My fingers are all like skinned up and cut up. My shoes is soaking wet, right? My shins is all wet. And finally I get back over there. You know what my friend tells me? Shouldn't have went down there. I'm like, oh, well, all right. So, you got another story, right?
Yep. My story is actually Nathan and I had a near-death experience together.
Yeah, so we were in this lake, right?
The fat man jumps into the boat. The boat goes up into the air. Okay, so here we go. We have actually, Nathan is the last of 6 siblings. His father has 3 children, and then we had 3 children together. And I was about 30 years old, and guess what? One day I discovered I was pregnant with this kid. And so I have to have C-sections when I have my babies, and I go in, and the medication that they give me, I prefer to be awake when they cut me open. Isn't that nice? So they freeze you. If you don't know what a C-section is, they cut you open and take the baby out. Except they're giving me the shot and I'm not freezing. So they say...
What do you mean by not freezing?
I can feel... I am not going numb. I can feel them poking and picking and starting to cut me. And so the anesthesiologist says to the doctor, what would you like to do? And he says, let's do a local. Which, when someone says a local, you assume you're going to get a shot. And no, they put me out. So they're having me count, and I go out. I wake up in the middle of the surgery, and I hear them saying, we need to hurry up. We're going to lose her. So then they put me out again, and then by the time I do wake up, everything did turn out okay. I woke up in the recovery room. Hippie here was good. I guess I was the fourth person that day. It was bad anesthetic, and it did not freeze. They had to put me out, and they almost lost me. They had taped the bag because they could not get the tube down my throat to my neck, ripped off moles, knocked out teeth. So it was a rough going. So they, at that time in 1996, they were about to lose Hippie and myself. So that was his...
Little baby Hippie.
Little baby Hippie. But everything worked out, and like I said, now we're going to tell you our near-death experiences after. I believe Hippie has another one he wishes to share with you.
So mine's just real simple. Right behind that same house, that gutter we lived by, behind the house is a loafing jug, which is like a gas station store that you can get food and stuff at in case you don't know what that is. And I'm waiting at the light, right? No problem. I get the little white Walkman to say I can go. So I start walking, and somebody to the left of me runs through the red light. And they were so close to hitting me that I had a lanyard with my keys and my ID on it in my back pocket. They were so close, they smacked the lanyard, broke the clip, and knocked my keys out of my pocket.
And kept going.
Kept on, sped up and took off. People were asking, like, a guy in front of me rolled down his window, asked if I was okay. I had no idea what happened. Like, I didn't make any conscious movements. I guess I dove straight forward, and I ended up on the ground, and I had to pick up my keys and put them back in my pocket, and went and got my tea, but still.
If he was actually hit, we really don't know. Was it shock? And this is the first time I'm hearing this story, too, but...
I didn't have any bruises or anything, so I'm guessing I dove, because, like, it was just a split second. I just hopped forward, or whatever happened, and a guy asked me if I was okay, and I said, yeah, I'm all right. Picked up my keys and still went and bought my tea and sat down in loafing jug for a couple of seconds.
And as of our stories that you can hear, some of them sound pretty crazy and unbelievable, and these kind of stories can happen in crazy families. So if he would have came home and said, guess what? I was almost hit by a car, I would have looked at him and I would have said, yeah, right, okay, yeah, right. So, and he was older. How old would you say? So you weren't a little kid going to do this. You were...
it was before we moved, so...
13, 14 years old?
It was older than that. It was before I gotten into high school.
So he knew how to cross the street, right. And it wasn't a main street. We were off the... Just really careless drivers.
A bad part of town. Like, people, didn't really care that much. But that was about it. Just... I don't know if that's considered a near-death experience, but with the speed that they were going, that they took off with, I'm guessing I probably would have got at least injured. They would have broke my pelvis. I wouldn't have been able to do my pelvic thrust no more.
So the last story is mine, and it is also a short one. And my grandfather and my grandmother would have all kinds of sayings like, don't do this when you're doing this. Don't sing while you're eating. Don't sing at the table.
Don't kick the pig when he's angry, right?
Yeah, don't poke a sleeping bear. Things that you just normally, just out of common sense.
Don't eat Lysol. Right?
Stuff you shouldn't do. So our family, we like to have family dinners out. We went to... in Manitou, went to the local KFC, and we like going there because they have a jukebox of the oldies, and Hippie really loves the oldies. And we'd get our chicken and whatever, and we'd sit in the back and we'd listen to the music, and you could choose what you wanted, or it would just automatically play. So we had a bad habit of singing and eating at the same time. And my husband got up to go get some more soda.
And Fat Man stayed too. So it's just my dad got up to go get some drink.
And so it was Hippie, Fat Man, and myself.
Sitting at another table across from her. And
I start choking on chicken and root beer. And they're looking at me, and I will tell you what happened to me, and then Hippie here will tell you what he saw. So I am choking and telling them, I'm choking, I can't breathe, and they're doing nothing but looking at me, and my husband just happens to come back, starts patting me on the back, and of course chicken and root beer spewed everywhere. So the lesson to this is, do not sing, eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and drink root beer all at the same time. And Hippie here will tell you what he thought was going on.
So when she said, help me, I'm choking, I heard, that was it. I thought she cleared her throat. And she's staring at me and Fat Man, and we're just looking at her. And she's like I said, she's not making any noise. But her eyes look like they're bulging out of her head. And I'm just looking at her, and I'm like, what is she trying to do? Is she like shocked? Did she just hear somebody swear or something? And then her face is kind of turning just a little bit pinkish, right? And I'm like, I don't know what she's doing. She's just sitting there. She made a, right? And that's it. And then my dad comes up and looks at her, pats her on the back, and put just chicken and some soda. I guess something like an air bubble came up her throat as soda went down, and it got stuck in her throat. And she's sitting here dying, right? And I'm just thinking she's trying to have an eye staring contest or something.
Things you laugh about now. So, what the moral of this story is too?
How far were you choking? Did you see black?
At any of these times, I did not see the other side. Okay, yeah. Let's put it that way, people. I only saw black, and I did not pass out from any of these experiences. So I guess I did not reach the other side. But what a good thing to do is please learn basic CPR. Learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver. You can also do it on yourself if you are by yourself.
Or just a pat on the back.
Something. Because if you rely on your family member, this is not the only time this has happened. My mom told me a story that my brother had introduced us into dehydrated cranberries, and she's not a fruit person, but she decided while I was in the shower, and my kids were little. We're talking Hippie here was 4, Fat Man was 6, and I think my older daughter, she's older than the boy, she was about 12 or 13. My mother decided to try one cranberry, and this is the only dried cranberry she said she's ever going to eat again in her life. Started choking on it, and when I got out of the shower, she was okay, but she told me, I was choking, the kids did nothing, and I'm like, they probably didn't know what happened, and how is a 4-year-old going to give a 50, 60-year-old woman the Heimlich maneuver? But, so, yeah, it is really easy to choke on, food, anything you put in your mouth that you're not careful with. So, it just shows that I need to teach my children how to do the Heimlich maneuver, or at least come get me when somebody's choking.
But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the final day of the 7 days Spook-Tacular.
So let us know if you've had any near-death experience, if you have actually seen the other side. I have watched the movie Beyond and Back, where it actually shows people that due to illness, car accidents, and even suicides have actually crossed over and come back to tell people about it. So even though that hadn't happened to us, if you have had any of those experiences or know anybody, we'd really be interested in hearing it.
But that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed all these videos that have come over the past 7 days. Hope you guys have an awesome Halloween tonight.
Safe, happy Halloween. Check your candy. Go to the places that you know of. Check your children's candy. Here in Colorado, we take our kids to the mall. It's all safe. Don't accept anything that is baked goods, liquids, anything that you're just really suspicious about, and just have a fun time.
And don't have any near-death experiences. So, I'll see you guys next time.